All right, man. Talk about Marvin Jones. You know, most people believe it's a make or break year for him. If the Lions cut him, they don't owe him that much money, or doesn't go against the cap like that. He owed around $6.5 million this year and around the same amount next year. I think next season will be his final season under contract, so he can easily be a cap casualty for Marvin Jones. But let's talk about Marvin Jones. Make or break year. Motor City Sports Talk. We're in the building. Appreciate the love and support. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, or video request. And appreciate the love and support. Make sure you jab that subscribe button, hit the bell icon button. Won't miss another video. And with Marvin Jones, most people was ready to get rid of him. Oh, we need another receiver. We need a receiver. But people just forget that he has suffered a knee injury in camp, and he just never recovered from it in camp early. He was tearing camp up. Him and Stafford was going crazy in camp. He was catching everything. They couldn't guard him. And a knee injury slowed him down. Obviously, him and Stafford missed on several connections in the Jets game and the 49ers game, the first two games of the year last year. And it wasn't just like Stafford was off. Like him and Marvin, timing was off because Marvin Jones had been going at full speed in practice. And all of a sudden a knee injury hampered him down. They should have rested him a little bit more and then brought him down later in the season. Obviously, it hurt him, but I think from a standpoint of fit in Darrell Bevell offense, I think he's an ideal fit, and I would like to see some other things in his offense from him, and I explained that. But it is a make or break year. It ain't like he fell off a cliff. It ain't like he ripped his Achilles or tore his hamstring off the bone or nothing like that. He had a knee injury that he didn't recover from. The offensive line didn't give Stafford a lot of time last year. And Stafford, quite frankly, had a shitty year, right? The whole offense did, and I blame that on Matthew Stafford, but primarily on Jim Bob Cooter. And I primarily blame Matthew Stafford falls and Jim Bob Cooter falls on Bob Quinn for not having the balls to fire Jim Bob Cooter and bring in an offensive coordinator last year. You know what I call Bob Quinn on this channel. Like him, but he a day late and a dollar short, all right? He waited a year late to get a running back when he should have got one in the draft class full with really good running backs. And he waited, he waited to get rid of the offensive coordinator, a year late, dollar short, all right? But why I feel like he's an ideal fit, because what Darrell Bevell want to do is predicate. He want to run the ball and pretty much get big plays down the field off the running game, and off the threat of the running game. When I say off the threat, just mean like you might be lining up in two tight ends, two receivers, one running back, and that might symbolize, or it might give you the signal that's a run play. But you drop back, you don't have to do a play action, and you drop back and people think you running, they bite even without the play action. Then you get opportunities on the outside, 1-on-1. And if your receiver able to win a quick slant, he could be gone to the house. Or if he able to get behind the coverage and get downfield, he could be gone. But with them looking for big plays off the threat of the run in the run game, Marvin Jones' ability to get down the field and make big plays, he fits the offense. Jermaine Kearse, obviously he fit the offense. He came from it. Kenny Galladay, he fit it. But a lot of times what I like to see, a lot of teams try to get the jump and think we going deep, either deep or running the ball. I like to see Marvin Jones kind of work underneath a little bit more. I like to see him work the end routes, the shallow crossing routes, the drag routes, the not just the 9 and the skinny post and the deep post and the double moves and the post corner routes. I like to see him work those comeback routes, back shoulder routes. I like to see him work the slant, the deep end, the shallow crossing routes. You know what I'm saying? I like to see him run the route tree a little bit more off the play action, because the defense gonna be thinking, boom, we gotta play the run, or we gotta get back and defend the deep half of the field. I think he got the ability to work underneath, and he got the yak ability a little bit with Golden Tate has to break a tackle and be gone. I think at some point in the season, when teams get to dropping what the Lions want to do, and this may come next season as well too, I think they need to work more underneath routes, off the play action, off the threat of the run game, and heavy set personnel. And I think he can run the route tree, and I think he got the raw speed still to get a slant and take it to the house. Do what T.O. used to do, or he got the ability to run a shallow crosser route, and you can really sneak like Brandon Powell or Danny Amendola and kind of sneak them on those little deep routes from the slot. In the slot, they really looking for slot receivers to work underneath whips, drags, crossing routes, deep out routes. They're looking for those type of routes from them because in the slot it's difficult to play because you don't have a boundary to be your 12th defender. Either the receiver go left or right, so it takes a cornerback with an acquired taste to really play the nickelback position. And I like to see them put Marvin Jones in the nickel a little bit because he can run the route tree. So they could do a lot of things with him in that slot role and just in this role in this offense on the outside as well too. So, this is a make or break year for them because he could be a cap casualty. He could trade him. But I'm glad they didn't get rid of him. People ready to write him off and he had an injury. So injuries happen. Let's give him a chance to be able to bounce back and ball out. Now, I don't think he fell off or nothing like that other than the injury. Now, if this injury more serious than I think it is, then I agree. They might let him go next year or trade him, but I don't think so, man. I think he still got it in this offense. He'll be able to get a lot of plays down the field, but I really think the money ball for them is being able to work underneath after they get the running game going, because him underneath could be deadly, because the Lions, if they're able to get it going down the field with their big plays, just like how Seattle and how Brett Favre, the Minnesota Vikings run under Darrell Bevel, those underneath routes gonna have the ability to go for big plays as well, because Stafford's gonna be seeing 8, 9 in the box. If C.J. Anderson, maybe Ty Johnson, Kerryon Johnson, obviously Zach Zenner, Theo Reddick is able to really create some havoc in the run game. They gonna see one-on-one. They gonna take their chances with Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones one-on-one on the outside. They just gotta commit the power game. And also what's going to be important with Marvin Jones being a physically imposing receiver as well. He's 6'2". He ain't no small receiver. Galladay being 6'4". Just how they talking about T.J. Hockenson blocking going to be important. They blocking going to be important for runs down on the outside and on the inside. Them being able to come down, crack block, and be able to block with the receiver. His blocking going to be critical as well this year too. So he's going to be able to bring a lot of things to the table, man. Wide receiver screens. He got the athletic ability to get some yards off of that too. So I think this is a huge bounce back year for Marvin Jones. I think this is I think it's gonna be the year he should have had last year if it wasn't for the injury. And him and Stafford had plenty of times in the San Francisco game and the Jets game to make plays down the field. And I remember the 49er game, man, in San Francisco when Matthew Stafford missed Marvin Jones. I think he missed him down the field, and then he hit Kenny Galladay. That was a fucked up ball he threw. Excuse my language. That was a murky ball that he threw, man. But Kenny Galladay was 100% healthy. He was able to high point the ball, and I think he took it in for 6. So Stafford accuracy played a role in that as well, too. And when you injured, you tend to need, especially with a lower body extremity injury, you tend to need the ball to be, A1. You tend to need to be a little bit more perfect. And Stafford was just a tad bit off. A lot of off last year. And Marvin Jones just needed him to be perfect because he was hampered by injury. So I think it's a huge year, man. I think people writing him off, man, but he's a huge threat down the field. But I think now it's time for them to open up, or unlock the underneath routes for him underneath, man. I really do. It's time for them to unlock those routes so he can be able to show his full capabilities and be a Pro Bowl receiver, if not an All-Pro receiver. I do think, and I will get back to talking about Kenny Galladay, I do see him having a huge year this year, man, if he's healthy, man. But I think Marvin Jones and him could be a 1,000-yard tandem. You don't have Golden Tate there no more, eating up all the balls. And people say, man, CJ, we got Danny Amendola. Man, counting on Danny Amendola, bro, it's like counting on Checker Cab to come get you in the slums in Detroit. They only really go outside the suburbs. Danny Amendola, the point I'm trying to make, is very injury prone, okay? You going to count on seeing a lot of Brandon Powell this year in that slot, or Tommy Lee Lewis or Jermaine Kearse in the slot. Count on seeing a lot of them in that slot position this year, because Danny Amendola is career injury prone, man. He's a walking AARP patient, bro. You're going to see a lot of him. He on Medicaid, Blue Cross Blue Shield, HAP. You know what I'm saying? He's very, very injury prone, man. While he out there, he very consistent, but he injury prone. But Marvin Jones, I look for him to have a huge breakout year this year, man. I look for him, one of my bold predictions, and I will do them as we get closer to preseason and the regular season. But one of my bold predictions, to give you a preview, I think Jones and Galladay, if healthy, are going to be a 1,000-yard tandem receiver apiece. They're going to have 1,000 apiece. They're going to have a rack apiece. And I think Stafford going to get a lot of plays going down the field this year off the run game. But hey, Motor City Sports Talk. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. Business question, inquiry, sponsor, video request. You can message me on social media. Appreciate the love and support. Share the videos. We go.